Hi, happy Friday. I hope that you had the best week that you could. And we have been doing a lot of interviews lately, and we're going to continue doing that. So I've been interviewing people who I think would be helpful for you as the parent as you go into the back to school season. And next week we will be back with more interviews, I think. Um, but in the meantime, I wanted to do a solo Facebook Live. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Every Friday, I normally go live to talk about things that help you get your child the education they need and deserve, because I know that it is a stressful process sometimes, and I want you to know that you're not alone. Um, Over the past few weeks, lives have not always been on Fridays because I've been interviewing experts, and we try to be a little bit more flexible with when they're available. Um, and some experts that we're going to have moving forward are a sleep consultant, a physician, um, all kinds of really cool people. So be sure that you follow along so you don't miss any of that. But today I wanted to do a short video explaining for people who haven't been following us for a while the origin story of Hoffman Tutoring Group, and then why we really care about the quality of our tutors and the individualized tutoring process. And I feel like all of this kind of goes together. So why don't we talk about that a little bit? Hoffman Tutoring Group started actually as Zoe Hoffman Tutoring. So let's go back to my cat is stop it, not happy about me and my hand gestures. Um, a little bit about why I became an educator. I was not great at school. In elementary school and middle school, I was not the best student. I had a hard time reading when I was younger. And then once I got my reading struggles under control, I had a hard time with math. You could call me maybe a late bloomer. I just didn't quite learn in the way that I was being taught in the classroom. And it took me until high school to really figure out how I learned the best, and how to teach myself. And I really actually learned a love of learning. I started to read a lot more. I learned what I was interested in. And then I was fortunate enough to pull my grades up in time to be admitted into college so that I could go into a teaching program. And so I decided to be a teacher so that I could help kids like me. I started to work with kids that I was babysitting and things like that to try to help them with their homework, help them learn things that they were struggling learning. Decided that I wanted to be an educator. I went to college to get a Bachelor of Science in elementary ed, so that I could do that. But as things always turn out, our plans don't always work the way that we thought they were going to work. And so I met my spouse in college, and he was commissioning into the Air Force. And that meant that we would be moving around a lot. And if you're not an educator, you might not know that licensing is different in every state. So every time you move to a new state, you have to get a new license. And we were going to be moving around so frequently at first. Not only was the licensing going to be a problem, but lining up those moves with the school year was not going to be a thing, because we don't get to choose when we move. The Air Force tells us. And so I kind of was struggling with the fact that I wasn't going to be in the classroom as I had expected. And so to keep my skills up as an educator and to get out into the community, I started tutoring. So I started tutoring students in Pensacola, Florida, about 6 years ago. And I quickly fell in love with that one-on-one relationship. And I started to realize that there was a huge need for that relationship, right? There were kids that were in the classroom that weren't getting exactly what they needed, and they needed a partner, somebody who really could meet them where they were, um, and help them fill in their academic gaps and build their confidence in that one-on-one relationship. And so I fell in love with tutoring. And I also taught myself how to do online tutoring. And this is where the Hoffman Tutoring Group really kind of starts. So I teach myself online tutoring so that I can continue my relationship with students. And then I start to realize there's this other big need, which is for students to be able to attend tutoring from their own home online, in the comfort of maybe their room or their family room with their dog, in their pajamas, with their favorite blanket. Maybe they have family members who can't leave the house. Maybe they can't leave the house. And so I decided to pursue online tutoring more than I was pursuing in-person tutoring. And then I started to realize that there was a big need for specialized online tutoring, and I could not specialize in all the things. I specialize in math. That's a whole other thing. That didn't happen until I was in my mid-20s when I really started to love math. I will do a video on that about that later. But I started to bring on all of these tutors that specialize in different areas, have different personalities, can work with different types of kids, so that I could match students with a tutor that would fit them the best. So they specialize in the thing that they're needing to meet their academic goals. And then they also kind of have a personality that might match that student. These tutors are fantastic. They are amazing. And what I was really passionate about at the beginning was making sure that each tutor was an educator. So they have a teaching certificate, they have an education background, they have experience, and they have a degree to back it up. They are lifelong learners. They're consistently trying to find new ways to reach kids. And because of that, they don't need micromanaging. They instead meet each child where they are and decide how each tutoring session is going to go. They meet your child, they decide what needs to happen in order for your child to meet their academic goals. They work with you and listen to what's been going on and how they can help your child, and then they go from there. They use their education and their background to decide what's going to be best for your child. And sometimes that is a lot of stuff that they're pulling from different curriculums, or sometimes it's working with your child on their schoolwork and with things that the teacher has given them to reach whatever goals that your child has and goals that you have for your child. They're fantastic because tutoring and teaching is a science and an art. And a lot of tutoring companies hire tutors that maybe aren't educators, and they say, well, I'm really great at math, so I can tutor math. And that's great. But a lot of times those tutors don't understand what we call the learning trajectory. They don't understand why a student might be struggling with something because they've always been great at it, and they don't understand kind of how to get that student from point A to point B using education techniques that work. So that's a little bit about Hoffman Tutoring Group and why I bring on tutors the way that I bring on tutors. Our philosophy as far as individualized tutoring, obviously, if you are bringing your child into tutoring, they need some individualized attention, and why not make that really personalized to what they need and what they want? I know a lot of our tutors too always take into account what your child is interested in. So they're trying to look for resources and ways to bring in learning that also relates to what your child is interested in. So we have kids who are interested in soccer, or they want to be a doctor when they grow up, or they play, another team sport. And so that tutor is always looking for opportunities to bring that interest in to what your child is learning. I feel so grateful that you are watching this video, that I've been able to share a little bit about Hoffman Tutoring Group and our origin story. Again, we are going to be back with more interviews to help you as you get ready for back to school. If you are watching this, I would love it if you would react to it and comment on it, because that really helps other people see this video, which helps in turn Hoffman Tutoring Group. I hope you have the best weekend that you can, and I will see you back here next week.